Everyone until now listen to hear one thing, Alberto. Money.
Money.
That's the sexiest topic ever. Is Amazon is paying crazy amounts of money.
I mean,
all right, here we are after the break. I got my Turkish coffee, traditional one. You see this? It's like espresso.
Oh, that's nice.
Nice, right? But you eventually actually left Amazon.
Yep.
Even with the money, with the security and everything. Why?
A person is a curious person. They can dive deep. I mean, they can start with open questions and then going through that questions until they find the points that they say, hey, this guy is curious. And
whoa,
maybe I remember when I joined Amazon, the result for books in that particular case, Harry Potter, was not really good. And we tried to improve. Yeah. I think that the first book appears in the second or third page.
Wow, that's a really interesting thing to work on, I believe, right? Search engine optimization, actually.
Yeah. It's really, and there's not much literature about it.
Yeah. Guys, Barış Ballı Podcast needs your help. This is an open call for helping this podcast. Unfortunately, this podcast budget starts to hurt me. I'm using few software to record the episodes and also edit it, such as Riverside, which I pay around $29, and Premiere Pro, which I pay around $23 per month. And they start to actually make budget problems for me. So I'm looking for actually 10 sponsors which would actually willing to give $5 per month. In Patreon, I opened an account. It's BarisPLL, patreon.com BarisPLL. I will put it in the description. Well, any help would be beneficial. I would really appreciate it. And in order for me to continue the podcast creation, I really need that. So I would be very happy if you subscribe. And one more thing, if you actually do help me, do join one of the subscription platforms like $5 or something, there will be some benefits. I will open some Discord groups. I will open monthly chats and many others. So I will not take any more of your time. I hope you like the episode. See you. Hola amigos. Another episode of Barış Ballı Podcast. Today I have a really dear friend, Alberto, with me. Hey Alberto.
Hey.
Cuba made us meet for the first time. Thanks to him. Hey Cuba, if you are listening to this podcast, thank you for meeting with Alberto. Well, Cuba mentioned that he actually knows a very skillful developer. And after that, I will make my small research. And I'm so impressed by the Alberto's skills and experience. Well, how everything is going, Alberto? Let's make a chit-chat.
Okay, everything is going really well. Today, I'm starting my Christmas holidays. So it's perfect Navidad for me today. Igualmente. So everything's really, really fine today. And I'm very honored and it's a pleasure for me to be here with you today.
Of course. And thank you for just accepting and being thrilled about this episode and sharing your knowledge, for real. And how is life in Madrid? Alberto is living in Madrid.
Yeah, I'm living in Madrid and today it's a really cold day. It's winter. So
is it in Spanish standards?
Now, now I think it's, let me check, 4 degrees outside. And for me, it's really cold, I know that there are other countries that it's more colder, but for me, it's really cold today with 4 degrees.
Yes. It is cold. 4 degrees cold, for real. Yeah, here is also pretty windy. in Wrocław, Poland, and cold. But I believe it's even can be warmer than Madrid right now. I'm not sure. It's around that 5-6 degrees, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. So what we are going to talk about today. Alberto is actually an ex-Amazon employee. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever mentioned that, but I'm a huge fan of Fang. and my ultimate goal is either joining to Fang or making a lot of money based on my own applications, entrepreneurship. So this is definitely a path that I'm trying to follow. And I know that there are a lot of semi-internal knowledge about how this process goes. This everyone knows that you need to crack those lead code questions. You shouldn't have a life. You should make a deal with Satan. But other than that, like how actually an ex-employee's experience was. So that I find it really interesting. And just before talking about your experience, Alberto, can you talk about your software developer experience in general?
Ooh, then we have to go to the prehistoric history, Okay, yeah, I started developing in 80s, 1980s, when I was 8
1990s.
years old. Yeah, I started when I was, currently I have 45 years old. And I started
Wow.
to develop with 8 years old when I was just a kid. I
8GR? I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't even know what this is.
Yeah, when I was 8 years, I watched
Eight
a
years.
movie.
Okay.
8 years, 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a movie called War Games. It's a 70s movie, about
Yeah.
a hacker. And then when I watched that movie, it was like, wow, I want to be like that, you know.
Yes.
And then I started because at that moment, of course, internet wasn't public.
Yes. Yes.
But there were some magazines and some books I started to read, and I started to develop in GW Basic,
Amazing.
a
Such an
really
organic
old,
way. For real.
yeah,
How,
yeah, yeah,
how
yeah,
you
yeah.
learned is amazing.
Yeah, and I started developing there, and as far as I was learning how to develop in GW Basic, the idea comes to my mind. I want to be this in my life. I want to become a programmer, a software engineer in my life. And then I started with that, and I followed that path since that moment until today.
Amazing.
But as a professional, I started when I was 18
Mm-hmm.
with my teacher, the person that teaches me how to program. I started to do some professional works with him, and then I went to the university, and then I got a real job, and I started to always navigating through this world in
Yes.
different type of companies.
Mostly, I believe you worked in web development, right? Or application
Yes,
development. Mhm.
yes, but I mean I have I'm very old, and I started with command line applications, then moved
Oh,
to Windows applications, and then
nice.
to web applications. So I pass all the stages.
Amazing. So you made actually desktop applications for Windows,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Wow. Really beautiful. All
It's
right.
a lot.
And
It's a lot.
and we talked before the podcast. You also followed your own career path, your own
Yeah,
company. You made entrepreneurship.
yeah. I started that because I'm a person. I was reading this week a book that talks about the different type of software engineers, and
Mhm.
they classify them into two different types: the cathedral and the bazaar ones.
What is the cathedral one?
Yeah, the cathedral software engineers are these type of guys that needs stability, that they like to work
Ah,
in a safe, project, and always in the same stuff. And the bazaar software engineers are this
chaos.
type of guys, yeah, more chaotic. I am of the second type. I need a lot of challenges. I need
Yes.
a lot of different projects with different languages, with different technologies, always learning,
Yes.
and always going out of my comfort zone. That's the
I
the
really
type.
think that I'm also in the second part for real. Yeah, but there aren't that many companies actually provide that much challenges, right?
Yeah,
Your own company. That's a good example.
that's the perfect example. I mean, you don't have security at all. You don't know if this project will be the last project that you will have, or you
Yeah,
don't know if you will have to work tomorrow 8 hours or 12 hours or 24 hours because the
yeah,
work that you have. And I love that type of life.
amazing, amazing,
And that was a very beautiful moment in my life. That 9.5 years, more or less,
beautiful,
was
beautiful.
really, really nice.
All right, then let's get to the topic right now. Let's go deep in the topic. How this whole process started? How did you actually initially contact with Amazon?
Okay, in my case, the initial contact comes from LinkedIn. I received a message in my LinkedIn inbox
So
from
no
a
network. Directly
no
they
network.
reached you.
In my case, no. I have a constant in my life. All the things that happened to me was a total casualty. You know, I never look for a client, or I've never looked for a company all the time.
Wow.
I don't know why. I always finish my way in the right places. You know, and that
Yeah.
moment comes from that process started with that message from an Amazon recruiter. I received an invitation to participate in a hiring process, and that was the perfect moment because I was in a transition on my life when we decide, my wife and I, we decide to foster a couple of kids. I decided that the freelance life or the entrepreneur life is not compatible with the father's life. Then I decided that I have to join a company and have a bit of security,
Wow.
and in that moment that message comes, so it was a perfect moment. And I thought, why not, let's do it. This is a top 5 company in the world on
Yeah.
technology, and I think
Yeah.
that it's a really good place to be. And then I started that process.
Just before you start the process, did they mention in their messages what is the expected salary or
No,
nothing? Okay,
no,
just
nothing.
hiring.
In
All
that
right.
message is just an invitation to start the process. They told you about the open position.
Mm-hmm.
This is a position for, I don't know, a software engineer based in Madrid, for this department, and blah, blah, blah. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
nothing about the money.
All right.
Uh,
All right. And
then I
then?
have then I accepted, of course, and I received a call from the recruiter,
Mm-hmm.
where we started to talk about what I'm looking for, what are they expecting, and if
Mm-hmm.
I want
Mm-hmm.
to follow the process. They told me about the process itself because it's not an easy process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they told me about how the process will work and how is the timing. In this type of companies, the timing it's very, very important. They have a rule. I don't remember exactly the amount of days, but I think that they have a rule. It was not more than 2 or 3 days to you
Wow.
get an answer after you do a part of the interview. I mean, you go through the stages, and then you do the first stage, and you get an answer in 2 or 3 days. If it's affirmative, if you can continue, then you go to the next stage, you do that stage, and you receive an answer in 2 or 3 days. So
Amazing.
it's really effective and really good from the participant perspective, because you don't have that uncertainty if you are in or out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have too much time to think if you got hired or not. And
All
it's
right.
really, really effective.
And what was the first step of interviews?
Yeah, after this phone call, I had to make a code test. I mean, they sent me a link, and I have to access to the platform and solve. I think it was 3 or 4 different problems related with
Huh.
resolution algorithms, data structures, and all this type
Yes.
of stuff. And you have to. It's not just the algorithm, but you have to explain why you did it in that way, why
So
you didn't do it in other way.
were somebody actually listening or watching you while you are
No,
solving? No. Okay, but
no,
it's recorded.
that part you do by yourself when you want, when you have time. You
All
do
right.
it by yourself, and then somebody in the other side, when you send your answers, they
Mm-hmm.
review, of course, your answers and decide if you must continue or if you are rejected
Yes. So you
of the
initially
process.
solved 3 to 4 data structures and algorithm problems.
Yeah.
And I'm curious actually, what was the level of those questions? Do you use Code Wars, for example, to solve some problems?
Yeah.
How many kata it has those problems?
You have because I mean your code must pass the test,
Of
and you
course.
have a little set of tests that you can use to check that your code passes. But
Uh-huh.
after you submit your answer or your algorithm, a bigger set of tests are applied to your code. So you can see just the basic
Uh-huh.
set, but they pass more tests just to check that your code is performant, that your code
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have, I don't know, memory leaks maybe, or all
I
these type
get it.
of things, you know.
And what was the level of those problems? Were they really, really hard or?
I mean, they are the classical type of problems that you can find in these
Mm.
web pages that you can practice with your daily how is it called challenges. These
Yes.
pages that has daily challenges. This type of problems.
Yes. So Fibonacci's.
Yeah. That type of stuff. Yeah, you can do it recursively or not, or you can decide to do
Yeah.
it in a way or another. Yeah,
Yeah, but I guess
that's
probably it's much harder than Fibonacci probably.
yeah, a bit more,
Yeah,
but that type of stuff.
I
You know
get
what I
it.
mean.
I get it.
And
And the next step?
yeah, the next step, if you pass that coding test, then you go to the last level.
Hmm.
That it's a pool of 4 different interviews.
Oh.
Each of them will be focused on a leadership principle of the company. I mean, the interview is structured in two stages. One is for coding or data structures or architecture or a problem
Hmm.
that you have to solve, and the other part of each of the interviews is based on a leadership principle. Amazon, in this case, I think it was they have 12 different leadership principles. Be
Whoa.
curious and learning, ownership, all these type of values that they have. I think I can share
And
later with you the.
how do they actually test this? Like being ownership, etc.
They have resources internally with different type of questions that they can make you to dive deep
Hmm.
on these values. They know
Yeah.
how to measure it. I mean, this is not a process like this. They have a lot of information. They know how to make the questions to the candidates to know
Uh-huh.
if they meet or not the bar in each of the values, and they can
I get it.
they can quantify
Yeah, but
how
probably
much do you.
nobody would say they are pricks, right? Everybody will act like they're the nicest guys.
Yeah, but I mean, they have a lot of experience. I mean, they are no
Mm.
news. They know when a person is going to be a real owner or
Hmm.
not. They know when.
It was just the end, so that finished that day.
Yeah. I mean, after that, you have
Wow.
the conversation with HR about salary, about everything, conditions, and all this stuff. But yeah, more or less, the hiring process itself was that.
And those algorithm question days, you also went to the office and got to the questions by those people, or
Yeah.
was it online? Again, in
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
office.
yeah. Yeah, in the office, you I got questions about different topics. I mean, I remember one of the questions were related with solve a problem, related with a game. You have this type of game and you have to solve it.
Yes.
Another was about an architecture of a system. You have to design a
Oh.
system that to sell tickets. I think it was about selling tickets. How would you do it? But I'm going with this server and these services and this stuff, blah blah blah, and they challenge all the time
Beautiful.
challenge. Why? do you use this type of server and not this other type of server? And why are you using microservices instead of blah, blah, blah? And why? And then you have to provide answers. That's why how they can sell if you have resources, if
I get it.
because I was thinking about this during this week, thinking in our talk, and there are a lot of people that uses resources like these books that exist, like Cracking the Code interview and all this stuff, and they told you how to answer all these type of questions.
Yes.
And I think that's good enough for some people, but in my case, I didn't use this type of resources. For sure, I searched for them, but I didn't study, And to be honest, for me, that resources are useful, but you must be yourself.
I get it.
I mean, you can't be an Amazonian. You must be you. If you are you and you are hired being you, then you won't have any problem. If you try to be other type of person, if you try to be an Amazonian during the process because you want to be an Amazonian, then I think this is not for you.
But eventually, you have to learn the information about topology and architecture and data structures and algorithms from somewhere, right? Like, if it's not cracking the coding interview, somewhere else. So how did you actually learn first the architectural cases, and how did you learn about the algorithm?
There are a lot of documentation in the internet, of course. But for example, in case of Amazon, you have a lot of documentation related with AWS and the different type of architecture you can use in their systems. I remember that I used that documentation they provide because I thought, probably if they are putting this here is because they want to use this, and they like this type of.
Asked about how do you use those AWS services to run
not
a
directly
server?
AWS. I mean, it's not based on AWS or it's not based on Azure. No, this is more
abstract.
More abstract. That's the word. Yes. But I mean, at the end, if you access to AWS documentation and you look for, I don't know, event-driven architecture, and you look inside their documentation how they propose their event-driven architecture based, I don't know, in a broker or any other type of stuff, you can look inside, and if you have a previous idea on how this type of architecture works, then all the pieces matches,
Yeah. System design is my secret passion, Alberto. For real. I love this stuff. I love the putting pieces into somewhere to make something more efficient. I like it more than data structures and algorithms.
Because the system architecture is, I mean, when you are a developer, you have a snapshot like this, When you are designing a system, you have a snapshot like this. You have a more open vision on the whole system. It's not just a part, it's everything. Yeah.
Exactly. And because of you are only limited with your own tech stack usually, it's really hard to estimate what would be if you would use this instead of that. And like for a long time, I actually thought what would be the actual benefit of using MongoDB instead of Postgres, for example, in my own projects. And you usually cannot find that good resources online that answers those questions. And for example, for a long time, I also guessed like why people do not use gRPC over RabbitMQ, or let me say, why don't they use RabbitMQ instead of gRPC, for example? Yeah,
but I think that there's not much information about that because that information usually comes from experience.
Yeah.
I mean, once you have used, I don't know, RabbitMQ or gRPC, and you check that your system performs well or maybe not well. That's the experience that you need to know. Oh, this is the best or this is the worst technology for me, And that's a decision that, I mean, you can have the specifications of each of the technology, and you can more or less imagine. that
But usually,
it is going to work well, but
no, yeah. If you are working in a company, usually it's a more high level decision. So you just go with the flow usually. But I want to show you one thing. I just bought a book. Damn, check this out.
that intensive applications looks
Yes,
really nice.
it's an incredible book. It's an incredible book, and I am still reading about it, and like I know that we are getting out of the topic, but who cares? I really like it because the guy actually gives a high level view over those things that nobody is giving actual information. I love programming books, but I love the ones with the code, but also the ones with the architecture, more abstract style.
Yeah, for sure. But that's, as you say, that's a higher level. You
Yeah,
started, usually you started as a software engineer, and then you move as an architect.
yeah, yeah,
That's why it's a bit harder because you need to be more open-minded. You don't have to think on details. Details are for
exactly.
developers, and you
Yeah,
have to be on top of them, and you have to, but you are responsible to they get the proper architecture. So you
yes.
have a huge responsibility because if you don't do your work in the best way, probably they will blame you.
Oof, oof. And you just need to find another job then. Oh no.
And for sure, you have to have a mentality with a long term.
Yes,
To have solutions for the long term, not just to solve the thing that I have currently now in front of me, but thinking
exactly.
that this will be on time and maybe in the future we will need to expand it or shrink it.
Exactly.
And you have to think in that way too. So you have to
Yeah.
have a lot of things into consideration to make that decisions. Not just what you like or what is the trend, but
Exactly.
what is the perfect technology for me and my
For
team.
that exact problem. Yes,
Yep.
yes. I get it. All right, we got out of the rail a little bit. I will put us back to the rail. So, Alberto, tell me. So you just started working there. How
Yep.
was a normal work day in Amazon? Well, I have some estimations. First, let me mention also that so that you can answer. There is some sort of idea that those FANG companies make employees work like hell. Like they work 8 hours, obviously they work 8 hours, but 10 hours, 12 hours. They just give small peaks, small rewards to make them work harder, free stuff, free food, blah, blah, blah. And how was your normal day in Amazon?
Okay. I mean, Amazon has one of the leadership principles they have is frugality. So regarding that free food, for example, you won't have free food at Amazon, and that's really
Ooh.
nice. Yeah. You have a lot of benefits, of course, working at Amazon, but free food is not one of them. At least when I was working there.
All right.
Um, the internal structure I had, we were divided into squads. I joined to the MacBook Search squad. It was in charge of trying to improve the the results that the customers receive when they are trying to find a book inside Amazon.
Aha.
And
So you were improving search engine functionality of
yeah,
Amazon
but only for
e-commerce.
books. Only for
Aha.
books. Let's
Wow.
imagine that you access Amazon and you type Harry Potter. Who knows if you are looking for a book or you are looking for a diary or you are looking for a glasses or you are looking for, there are
Yeah.
different type of products. And then how do you decide that the customer is looking for a book? And
Whoa.
maybe I remember when I joined Amazon, the result for books in that particular case, Harry Potter, was not really good. And we tried to
Whoa.
improve. Yeah. I think that the first book appears in the second or third page.
Wow, that's a really interesting thing to work on, I believe, right? Search engine optimization actually. I
It's
I never knew that.
really, and there's not much literature about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
regarding the working at Amazon, I don't have that sensation of pressure that you are mentioned before, having to work every day. I mean, every day for 10 or 12 hours or 15 hours. You have pressure, of course. You have to think that when you join one of these companies, your code will be used and executed by millions of persons per day. If your code is not the best code, probably you are in a problem. You know?
Yeah.
So the responsibility it's really hard, and the sensation of responsibility is really hard. But you have to deal with it. You have to deal with it. You are a developer. You are going to do your best, and of course, like any other person, you make mistakes. So that's in your contract. You are not perfect. You are not ChatGPT. You know, you are not a robot. So you have to deal with that. So at the beginning, that sensation can be a bit stressful. Hey, if I put this in red, let's imagine a box inside the website or the app. If I put this in red, everybody is going to see this in red. So you must to be concerned of that.
Scary.
Yeah. Then I don't have that sensation of pressure from my dear managers or from the rest of the people. You have to do this for yesterday. You have to. No, everything was very well structured. I mean, the projects, the timing, everything was really well structured. You have time enough because you are the person who is estimating how many time are you going to need to develop something or to provide a new feature or to modify this or to modify that. You know? So if you don't have time, it's because of you have provided a worse estimation, the worst estimation. You know?
I get it.
But I have to say that my situation at Amazon, I mean, when I joined Amazon was pre-pandemic, 3 or 4 months before the pandemic. Then the pandemic comes and I didn't go to the office because of the pandemic. I started to work remotely. And after that, I didn't went to the office for more than 2 or 3 times more. You know, so at the office is really nice. It's impressive. You know, there are a lot of beautiful stuff like this Silicon Valley offices. You know, but I cannot use it too much. I remember we have
perks.
Yeah. We have a cantina inside the office, really nice. We have a restaurant too. There were a gym.
About your team, Alberto. First, how many people were there and their role? And also, were the teams international or just people working from Madrid?
Okay. When I joined the company, the team was created. I mean, I was the first software engineer that joins the team between another person. I mean, they hired 2 software engineers and then we started with the team. So the team borns at that moment. You know? But after that, more people comes to the team and it was international. There were people from Amsterdam. There were somebody working from Amsterdam. There were somebody working. There were people from Argentina.
Wow.
People
different
from
time zones.
From different. But most of the people were in Madrid. Were based in Madrid. There were only this person that was working from Amsterdam. But the rest of the people, even if they come from another countries, they were based in Madrid.
And in a normal team, how many developers were there, and the other roles? How many business analysts? How many designers?
In that moment, the moment I leave the company, I think we were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regular software engineers, 1 senior software engineer, 1 engineering manager, and 1 product owner.
Wow.
Okay. And at TPM, I think it was the technical program manager.
Yeah. You said 1 senior engineer, right? In this out of 5.
In Amazon, it's called SDE3.
Yes. I was going to ask about that one actually, because you had, when you joined to the Amazon, almost 10 years of professional experience. That obviously makes you a senior. But inside Amazon, there is a different ranking of developers, right? In order to, no matter how many years of experience you have, you still start as a junior.
Yeah, in my case, I joined as a regular. I mean, they have this SD category, and inside the SD
What is
category,
it?
there is
What
the
is this SD
SD
category?
Software Development Engineer. SD,
Okay.
Software Development Engineer. And there are 3 different levels, SD1, SD2, and SD3. I joined as SD2. And what we know as Senior Software Engineer will be the SD3. And the junior is the SD1.
So what makes the difference between SD1 and SD3?
Experience. Experience, not just in hard skills, but in soft skills too. You have to be. I mean, when you join this type of company and you are part of a team, you have to collaborate with different teams. You are not in
Yes.
isolation. It's not the only team on the company. So it's supposed that SD1 will work mostly inside the team. SD2 will be working inside and a bit of outside of the team, and the SD3 is working inside the team but together with more teams.
So the difference is actually the
They will
connection.
have to connect with different stakeholders and have, when you are SD1, you have more contact with the keyboard. I mean, coding. And as far as you are coding, you are losing that contact with the keyboard, and you have to go to more meetings, to have other type of responsibilities, to have more the vision and the mission of the team, to define the roadmap, all this type of stuff.
Yeah. All right. Just
And then
before
there is there is another category over that is the principal engineer. Principal engineer is not part of a single team. That person can be in different teams at the same time.
Wow.
And they are supposed that they are the gurus. They
Wow. They just fly in the air and think, and somewhere in Amazon services code is already deployed.
They have to know mostly everything, about the company and how it works,
Okay. There are just Jeff Bezos and clones of him in this position.
More or less.
Yes, those girls. All right. Well, what do you say? Let's make it 2-3 minutes break. Just to take a coffee. Or
Perfect.
All right, here we are after the break. I got my Turkish coffee. Traditional one. You see this? It's like espresso.
Oh, that's nice.
Nice, right?
Lot of caffeine for your brain.
Yes. I need caffeine, even though it kills me. Alberto, you don't use caffeine, I guess, right?
No, I don't.
That's
I don't need it, to be honest. I'm a person with a high level of energy, usually. I don't like to take coffee. I decided to stop taking coffee when I got my sabbatical period, more or less 2 years ago. And I stopped drinking coffee because I drink a lot of coffee at that moment.
Amazing.
Since that moment, everything is really nice.
Amazing. I just switched from coffee to actually matcha. But in the moments like this, when I need to boost my brain with this caffeine, I usually use small cups of coffee, to be honest. But
it can be a helper.
I prefer matcha. Definitely. So, again, get on the rail.
Let's go.
Everyone, until now, listen to hear one thing, Alberto. Money. That's the sexiest topic ever. Amazon is paying crazy amounts of money.
I mean, let me say something. First of all, money is not the most important thing on the world.
Oh no, Alberto already started making his way. Oh no. So you guys need $1 million or what?
At least for me. Say that, I have to say that at that moment, I don't know now, okay? But at that moment, the salary Amazon offers me was higher than the medium here in Spain. A lot higher, to be honest. I'm not going to say about
Of course.
quantities, but
We'll say was it double of a good salary in Spain?
1.5, more or less.
One
You,
and a
you
half.
have to you have to think that at that moment I was freelance.
Yes.
So my salary at that moment as a freelance was higher than the salary
Mm-hmm.
that Amazon offers me. But for non-freelance people, it
Mm-hmm.
could be more or less 1.5 of the
I get
salary
it.
here in Spain with the Spanish standard. Yeah?
Of course. Well,
But you have
yeah.
you have a part of your salary. You have other benefits. I
Yes.
remember with a lot of love something that they call the sign-on bonus. You have
Sign
a
what
sign-on
bonus?
bonus. Sign-on bonus. When you sign the contract, you
Okay.
get at least in my case and in that moment, I got something called the sign-on bonus. It was a part of your total salary. I mean, a
Mm-hmm.
percentage. I don't remember the exact amount, but let's say 25% of your salary as a bonus just to sign with us on
Wow.
the first paycheck. A part of your salary, of course.
Wow. Just to sign for you, 25% of your that monthly salary, just as a
Yeah.
bonus.
Yeah. I
That's
don't remember if it was 25, 10, 50. I don't know. But it
mm-hmm.
was a percentage of your total salary
I
on
get
your
it.
on your first paycheck. And the second year you have,
Shares. I guess
yeah,
they also
you
give
have
shares.
shares. You have
Mm-hmm.
shares, but you are getting them as far as you pass some time. I mean,
Oh.
they don't come on the first day. I think it was when you went for a year, you received the first amount of shares
Mm-hmm.
that you can decide if you can sell them or you want to maintain them.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as you are passing more and more time, you are getting more and more shares.
Amazing, for real. Especially this share case, like if you can be really beneficial throughout the years if you keep them, or if you actually sell them and buy yourself a good portfolio.
Yeah, you have to think when I joined the company, it was pre-pandemic, as I said before,
Yes.
and you can imagine how the shares growth after the pandemic and
Oof.
during the pandemic. They growth a lot, and it was
Yeah.
a huge amount of money too. Yeah.
Yeah, throughout the COVID, I believe, yes, those e-commerce companies actually earned a lot of money.
You can look
Mm-hmm.
for the graphs during the pandemic. I mean, let's see that the graph of the stocks were more like here.
Mm-hmm.
And during the pandemic,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it
But
was
it's
crazy.
actually decreasing right now. I believe that's why
Probably
Shopify laid
yes.
off
That
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 many people.
that growth cannot be infinite,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the wave in some time will finish. So
exactly. And what do you think about the current market? Because it seems to me, especially just after the COVID, when fan companies start laying off people after 3 or 6 months or so, I believe software development market is actually uh, became really recessed. Uh,
yeah, for sure there is a change on the trend. During that
mhm.
moment, the trend was like the stocks,
Yes,
growing, and you raise your hand, and 20 companies comes to you. Hey, come with us. We want you here.
yes.
That I think it doesn't shrink, but maybe it's stabilized.
Huh.
The thing is that during the pandemic the level grows a lot, but that wasn't real. That wasn't real for
Mm.
sure. Then, but I think that that's a good and even a natural process. Like in the nature, when something grows too much, then
Yes,
the own nature regulate that until
exactly.
the right moment. So for me, that works for people that doesn't like or that are in this world just for the money, for example, or just
Yes.
because this is a sexy business at this moment or is a trend.
Hmm.
That people probably goes out and goes to other business or to the real place.
Mm. But do you think the current state of business is natural or is it less than the natural? Because it seems to me with the increase in interest rates all over the globe, there is a artificial recessed economy and Not that many. This is also has its own reflection to the employee market. There aren't that much roles, and even if there is, they're much harder compared to last time.
Maybe the competition is much harder. I mean, as I said before, if you are good in the work that you are doing, you won't have problem for sure. The thing is that probably this is a basic rule on the market. If the offer grows, the demand goes down.
Of course.
And in the opposite, at that moment on the pandemic, the offer grows a lot.
Yes.
So the offer grows, the salaries grows, the perks grows, everything grows because all these companies needs to attract the talent. But if the offer goes down, then probably the salaries will not grow in the same level, but they cannot go back. I mean, just imagine somebody that joins a company today and they get hired by, I don't know, 100,000 euros per year. And they know that their teammates that was hired during the pandemic are getting 200,000 euros. That's unfair,
Definitely.
Because they must be at least more or less at the same level. So the salaries will be more or less the same. But the thing is that there are not so much offer. So you are going to raise your hand, and maybe not 20 companies are going to come. Maybe one or two are going to say, okay, let's see if you can come with us.
Yes.
And then you have to demonstrate that you can be with them.
Yes.
You must be
obviously
a performant person. You need to have that passion that is needed to be a real and a good engineer,
Yeah.
But before maybe it was a bit easier because there was a lot of holes that they have to fill,
Yes, and there were this infinite growth of startups. Those investors were keep firing money for stupid investments of most of those startups. I believe, that also end up being that way for the last 5-6 years. Okay, but you eventually actually left Amazon, even with the money, with the security and everything. Why?
Because of me. I think it's the best reason,
So why actually?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, during the time I was in Amazon, it was really nice. I learned a lot. To be honest, I learned there how to be a software engineer, not a developer. I think there are two different categories. You can be a really good developer, but you can't be an engineer. And if you're a software engineer, of course, you are a developer. And I think that time I was working at Amazon provides me the opportunity to become a real software engineer, somebody that is not just on the code and open my view to other things, not just the code.
I get it.
I'm thinking more in a long term situation for the things that I have to develop. But this type of applications like these applications to date with people. Tinder.
Yes.
You have to do much with the people. For your professional life is more or less the same. You have to do much with your company. In my case, I didn't do much 100%. And it took me more than 2 years to realize that. But finally, I realized it. And I decided that I had to leave the company because that wasn't my match,
And why you think you didn't match?
I mean, this type of companies requires a lot of effort, not on developing, but on planifying, a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of meetings, a lot of stages that you have to pass until you get your real work. I mean, not your real, but your code at production. And that situation frustrates a lot to me.
I get it.
As I said before, I need challenges. I need movement. And when your movement is stopped because you have a backpack of meetings, of bureaucracy, then you feel that you are not doing your best. Then at that moment, I decided that I mean, I learn a lot here, but you and I are not the right match. So I decided to leave the company and take a sabbatical period to rethink about
Uh-huh.
myself, about my professional life, and put all the
Yes.
things in the right place.
So you took a gap year actually, right?
Yeah.
Well, you are actually the only person I knew that actually did that.
Yeah, and I am the only person I know that did that, to be
Yes,
honest.
yes. And
Because I didn't get fired. I say, hey, goodbye. You know to come. Don't come to me.
yeah, yeah,
Then I leave the company without nothing. I mean, I have some money, of course, on my bank, but
yes.
I didn't get another job. I just wanted to have time to reflect
Wow,
on
wow.
on my professional life. I mean, the work is the place where you are most of your time.
Yes.
If that place is not the best place for you, you will be unhappy. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be unhappy. I want
Yes.
to be happy. I for me, developing is my life.
Mm-hmm.
And if I cannot develop or if I cannot do it in a quick way or in the way that I think that I should, then I'm not going to be happy. If I'm not being challenged, if I not got
I get
that
it. I get
sensation,
it.
then I stopped, totally stopped.
Uh-huh.
I knew when I want to start the sabbatical period, but I didn't have idea when it will finish.
Wow.
And that comes naturally to me
Wow.
when I went for more or less 6 months. I decided that that was the moment to restart in as part of a company.
But isn't the company you are currently working? If you want, we can crop this part. By the way, just tell me. Isn't the company you are currently working also makes traditional stuffs? After all, how challenging it is to create a new API?
Okay, it's not too hard, to be honest. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the company I'm working now, for sure, is not so huge like Amazon. It's a big company compared with my own company, the one I created, because it was only me.
Yes.
And this is a big company, but it's not so huge. So people is more near of you, and the people is more open. I mean,
Of course.
if you create something new, you are not going to affect 2 million of persons in a day. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's not a reason because you can do things faster or more agile in more agile way, but they are more open to change things and do things in the way that you think they can you or your team thinks that they
Uh-huh.
should do. You know,
And you don't get bored with your everyday
never,
tasks? Wow.
never.
Nice.
Right now, never.
Because what I feel like, you are a perfect candidate to be an open source developer. Because there are
Yeah, I
crazy
think so.
projects always, and you can actually pick the one you are interested in. And I find it incredibly good. And if I would have the financial support, actually, I would definitely be an open source developer full time.
Yeah, that will be really, really amazing. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
collaborating with thousands of people, maybe in a huge project, or maybe with a couple of persons in a tiny
Exactly.
project, but doing like when I was freelance,
Mm-hmm.
doing just for fun, doing just for learn, doing just to satisfy your curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
That's for me.
Yeah.
That's the ideal scenario for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wish I would do it full time, because you can actually play with all those tech stacks. I find it incredibly beautiful. Like, I learned Go and Rust this around the
Nice.
year, and the issue is there is no project. Like, obviously, full time job takes your 8 hours a day, and after that, I'm also dealing with some other projects. I have other plans. I have sports. I have my social life, and uh, you cannot actually go adventure to adventure.
Yeah. At the end, you have to look for the balance with
Exactly,
everything.
exactly. But yeah, all right, then we are actually getting to the end of this podcast episode, Alberto. But I learned shitload of information from you, Alberto. For real, I got a new discovery over the things. I'm very happy that I met with you, and
too.
I'm very happy that Kuba actually make us meet. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me here, and it was a pleasure. And yeah, wherever you want, I'm here.
All right.
And of course, if you come to Madrid, you know, you have to call Cuba, and then we meet and take some beers
We
and
have to do
croquetas.
it. We have to do it. We have
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Definitely. We have to do it. All right. So if my channel reaches 1 million subscribers,
Then we have to do a live podcast here in Madrid.
yes, definitely. So that my subscribers can support my life. Currently, I have around 30 subscribers.
Nice.
Loyal ones.
It's a good number to start.
Yes. Fake accounts of my mom, 5 of them. All right. Ciao.
Bye.